we're the AI native workforce engine, looking to solve the cyber talent shortage and the AI shortage across all these various different industries. This is both going to be for instructors and for admins. One of the things that we do in terminology, we switch back and forth between a book and a course. They're the same thing in our platform, but because we wanted to have that book concept, the content that we could create and treat that like software, that's where that comes from. The AI does generate these book covers. Oh, if we could go on mute if you're not talking, that'd be great. But you can also replace these covers with a high resolution image, etc. We've developed 100+ courses to date. That's all in the course catalog. We have built into the platform a number of the 8140 short skills. So there may be chapters, so to speak, that you want to embed in your book, in your course as well. And then we've got those 50+ lab exercises. And then inside of the exam prep where you use AI, there's Security Plus prep, CISSP prep, CISA prep, and CEH prep. And there's 2 modes to that we'll talk about. One is it'll just ask you 50 questions at a time to help you prepare. The other is throughout the product, this concept of learn on. So maybe it asks you a question about SIMs and log analysts, and you don't feel confident about that topic. You can go into the learn on mode, and then you'll be in an adaptive tutor, sort of a Socratic session that is asking you questions to help you master that knowledge. So the core component are the digital textbooks and embedded assessments, the virtual cyber range labs that it's hosted up on Google Cloud, and we built those from the DoD STIGs, the personalization engine, integrated gradebook and analytics. So we're tracking the students through reading content, doing assignments, working on the cyber range, etc. And we also have nudges on the back end. We call them academic nudges. So if students aren't completing quizzes or cyber range labs or other things, they're going to get a text message that says, hey, please log on and accomplish this. Because increasing salaries and tracking that for our students is so important, we do ask on a monthly basis where the students are working, their benefits, their salary, etc. So you may see that pop up when you log in. You can just choose from the drop-down list there. We treat the curriculum as code. So even though we've generated this book, this course, you'll see when I go into the course that it's actually markup language. So if there's something in the course that, this new thing with DeepSeek just came out, I want to add it to this chapter because it's relevant, you literally can edit right in that course in the book materials, and then that's live. We have multiple agents across the platform we'll talk about. And then we do single sign-on with Gmail and others. When you're in the course, and you'll see this, you'll see there's chapters. So that's the content that they're going to be reading. There's videos. Those are the live archives. So every time you do a lecture, if you're going through WebEx or Zoom or Google Meet, you can upload that video of the live lecture, and then we'll slice and dice that into individual video snippets for reuse. So think of it this way. As you're teaching, you're also publishing content that then you can reuse in future courses. There's quizzes, the syllabus, assignments, any resources, so PowerPoint files, URLs, things like that you want to add. And then there's the cyber range labs and the LLM playground. So we'll go into detail on the cyber range labs in a second, but effectively think of it as an interface in the course where you can pick and choose from the existing virtual machines and assign those to sections or chapters within the course for the students to go through. The instructions are also geared to provide the student with an overview of how this ties back to the course. And then the Rain Sherpa tool, as I mentioned before, is there to provide technical support as they're accomplishing these labs. The LLM Playground has about 100 different models built in. And so you can see doing prompts, the difference between Gemini and OpenAI and Claude, et cetera. So we set up the course with these modules, these chapters related to what you're teaching on a week or a daily basis. The content delivery, any quizzes, projects, practical exams, and then providing feedback and continuously improving what we're teaching. Don't think of this as something that you're creating a course for January and it's going to be stale and sit on the rest of the year. You really want to be updating this every time you teach a new cohort so it's fresh and relevant to what those employers want to hire. We'll talk about the career section in a second, the interview prep, the resume builder to get around the applicant tracking software. But the reason that we have that fresh jobs database and we're going out and we're scraping for all the AI, cyber, quantum, nuclear, and other jobs is we're not there yet, but ultimately we want to be able to look at a given group of jobs or job titles and what are the skills that the companies are looking to hire, and then feed that back into course design so that we're maximizing what we're teaching based on what the market is looking to hire and doing that in real time. So this is the getting started. Course delivery is 100% virtual, student engagement, and we'll go into the details in a second. You can also create manual quizzes. You can use AI to create quizzes. The students can use AI to create a pop quiz to quiz themselves. And then we have AI graders both for assignments, quizzes, as well as the cyber range labs that provide feedback. And then they also provide the opportunity for the human instructor to say, yeah, this is the way I would grade it, or I would modify this and then hit submit and provide that. A couple of things to note on this screen here. You can go in and create a course. We're doing that primarily for you now. In the future, that's going to be more open to our instructors. You can create a chapter. So think of an individual section within a course, or we can duplicate courses. And when you go through the duplicate procedure, you can choose which of those areas in the course that you want to duplicate. So do you want to just duplicate the content, the assignments, the cyber range labs, the resources, or none of the above? There's also the ability to edit the author of the course, the title, the description, and then the three dots on the right-hand side is where you go to update the cover picture. You can generate a PDF of content, an EPUB, or archive the course, and only admins will see the archive. So in the chapters, what we'll see here is when we log on is we'll have something like week 1, Introduction to Cloud Security. When I click into week 1, right now in the center here is an instructor view. So that shows me the sections and the subsections. The markup is in the center. The actual student view is on the right-hand side. So the student won't see 3 panels. They'll only see 2. You can edit this text directly here. There's also a Grammarly-like function. So it will go through using AI and make suggestions on any grammar to content that you've put in there. Capitalizations, punctuation. Probably the biggest thing that we see in technical writing is really the correct capitalization for all the products that you're listing in here and so forth. When you go into the course, there's each one of these sections. And, again, this is because cyber and AI and these other skills are changing so rapidly. We built a platform to treat curriculum like software. So you can modify it, update it. We know it's never going to be completely done just because everything is rapidly changing. This is just an example of adding a quiz. So you can do an AI generated quiz, or you can manually create a quiz, and then the different question types and so forth. Assignments can be submit a file, submit a URL. Resources can be PowerPoints, PDFs, things like that, links to videos, any of the other content that you want to give access to. We tend to put all of the lecture PowerPoints up here in resources as a PDF, just to control those, so it's not that easy to edit. But of course, with AI now, anything can be reverse engineered. The cyber training environment, the range, it's multi-tenant. It's a real-time environment for provisioning and teardown. You'll see in here that there's labs instructions, an overview, prerequisites, what will you learn. There's a start button. There's also a reset button. So by default, the way the labs work is we're letting the students take a lab as many times as they want to. So until they master that concept. We're still working on some SCORM imports to play legacy content. And we're looking at some integration with legacy LMSs like Blackboard and others. You'll see here that when I add a lab, I can search to find the lab I want. And then when I'm adding that lab, I can choose the lab title, like cryptography overview, and I can connect it to a chapter in the content. So how do I think folks were asking about that before. The labs are available for 2 to 3 hours at a time, and then they'll reset themselves, and they default back to they clean themselves up as well, as I should mention, so that you don't have to worry about going back into that Kali box afterwards and erasing anything that the students did. In the admin view, you'll see that we have statistics about number of times they've logged on, how much time they spend in content, career tasks, quizzes, assignments. We try to track pretty much anything that they're doing on the platform to understand where they are, and also to provide those academic nudges as well.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I had a question about what it means when you start a lab and it says you have 14 days. Is that like a specific session or how does that work?
So there's running the virtual machine versus the persistence of the virtual machine. So when you run the virtual machine, you have 2 hours at a time. The persistence means that you have up to 2 weeks to come back to that same lab.
Thank you.
And so this is just a exam prep details, career usage, lifetime hours, and so forth throughout the product. And then we track, time, certificate pass rate, time reduction. There's that course catalog that I'll show you, users and enrollments. So you'll be providing us a list that we'll be importing and creating those, assigning those instructors to cohorts and so forth, getting you set up and really hand holding you through multiple cohorts for the best possible user experience.
I have a question, sir.
Okay.
Just as far as like attendance, I guess when they log in, it's tracked, like it'll just like populate somewhere.
So the way we're doing attendance right now, it's not perfect, but what we do is we take attendance in WebEx, and then we export the CSV file, and that can be imported into the platform. So it's just it's going to depend on which, if you're going to do it manually, because I know your students are also in person to some degree, and being able to import that. So we should probably add that to the parking lot list, Emily, to discuss on that import and how you want to do that.
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
Oh,
Thank you.
sorry. Sorry. So I have another question after V then. So for the WebEx platform, um, we're all gonna have to download that and that's where we will hold the class. Is that correct?
Well, it's it's up to you which virtual platform you want to use. We use WebEx because of our Cisco partnership, but we don't provide WebEx licenses to our customers.
Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Follow-up question to that. So, are we required then to use WebEx for the class, or can we use Zoom or, a Google link?
Excuse me.
Hello?
I think he needs a second.
Yeah, I think he
Oh,
had to wait for a second.
okay. I was confused. I was like, wait, did I scare everyone off?
No, sorry, I've got this.
Oh, all good, all good. I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
This lingering
Careful, Chris.
cold that,
It's that time of year.
and it's always late in the day where it just kind of pops back up.
Yeah, no,
So
I
no,
feel you. I feel you.
sorry about that. You can use your own virtual tool, so you could choose Google Meet, WebEx, Zoom, etc.
Okay, reason I ask is we do have Google Workspace accounts, which, per my knowledge, it gives us, unlimited access to like set up meetings and host people on it. And I can check that access with our IT department just to verify numbers and session duration, but might be something rather than us, having to buy into WebEx licenses. Or
Yeah,
we can
and
look into getting Zoom licenses as well.
correct. And you should be able. I mean, we have corporate Google as well, and I don't think we're restricted on the corporate size to the number of attendees. But yeah, probably double
Yeah.
check on that.
Yeah, I'll follow up with IT on that. I know that our IT partners also were supposed to look into bandwidth for Zoom licenses. So, team, I'll circle back with IT on that, and we'll see where we are.
And the one thing that we do recommend is whichever platform you use, turn on record by default, and that's either at the admin console if it's WebEx, or if it's Google Meet, you can, in the calendar event, ensure that it records by default, just so you never miss a recording.
And
So if you see here where it's the Fusion Cyber logo in the upper left corner, that'll be the F3 logo once we deploy your tenancy. So it'll be branded as F3. When you go into courses here, this will be the courses that you're either enrolled in or that you're teaching. So you can see that there's a couple of these that the team has started to work with the course shells for the course titles that you've sent over. But if I go over here, and for example, if I go into the cloud computing course, when I log in here, I've got all of my information. I can go into the cyber range labs, and if I wanted to add a new lab, I can go plus, and now I can search up here for the existing virtual machines, like the 3 labs that do Sentinel with Microsoft, or AWS, so monitoring labs and etc. And then assigning those to a chapter basis. But I won't add that now because this is already in here, but you'll see if you go into a lab, there's the lab instructions. Something that's really important that we've found over the last 6 months is use the copy button to copy code snippets. If the students are just trying to copy like this, especially if they're doing anything with log analysis or Python, etc., it picks up HTML characters and then they feel like they're not completing the lab. But if you always use the copy button for code snippets, then they're clean that way. And it'll cut down on the number of support tickets that you get. So there's the lab instructions. This is what you're going to do in AWS. There's the overview of the lab, any prerequisites, and then what you'll learn. So what are the learning objectives and so forth. We're also building out a rubric for grading each one of these labs. And what you'll see is with the Range Sherpa tool, it's actually in the future, not only will it provide technical support to navigate the lab, but the Range Sherpa will have the capability to grade their activity inside the virtual machine as well. So if there were 10 things that you wanted them to do instead of AWS or Linux, it could actually use computer vision to track all of that to ensure that they're accomplishing those activities. I mentioned the videos. So this is where those archived videos, you can set the title. It's important to set the lecture date just for finding things. But if I go into the video itself, you'll see that I've got this is a 30-minute long video up top, but the AI is actually broken it down into snippets around cloud security, frameworks, challenges, takeaways and service models, data loss, security tools, and DevOps. So it takes anything that you record, and it's actually trying to find content in there that's coherent, and then it creates these snippets. It's not like chapters in a movie. It's more around learning objectives and content, and then this can be reused later to embed within that course. Let me go back here. Also, you'll see once you're in that video, you can go up here to edit the chapter, the instructor name, and the lecture date just by clicking on any one of these. And you can edit the video title right here as well by clicking on the pencil icon. Course statistics. For your given course, you can filter on time period, top performers, on students. So we can see that there's 41 total students, the average completion, student status distribution, how many are participating, not participating, and just lots of details in here. I mentioned those reusable chapters. So these are chapters that don't, think of it as content that's really not changing as much as some of the cyber and AI content. So IT project manager, knowledge manager, system security analyst. So this is content that you can add into your course. And there's a search bar up here, et cetera. You can create announcements, there's notes. When you're in a chapter, you'll notice this hover div in the center here. So you can edit the content. You can go into an AI tutor. And so the AI tutor knows the content for this given area on virtualization and containerization. And you can ask questions of the AI here if you're struggling with that topic. And that's available pretty much on every page. There's also the ability to go in here to open the text reader, and this will actually read to the students on the page. One of the things that we find, especially with fathers and mothers, working adults going through the program, at night being able to listen to the content while they're putting the kids to bed or working around somewhere, wherever they're doing, is a pretty big boon. Well, eventually we're going to roll out the exam prep. Will have the ability to do that over the phone as well. So like if you're working in a warehouse or something like that, and you just want to be, hey, what's a Linux endpoint and security plus? What's this? What's that? And literally you're just going back and forth to study for that exam.
Excuse me,
That's
I
the
have a question. Oh, sorry.
Sure, sorry.
I just had a question. Is there an app for this as well? Or like, can it be accessed through an app or only over the internet?
That's what I was going to ask too.
It can be accessed. It's mobile friendly and mobile native, but there's not a separate app for it.
Okay. Just for people that are on the go.
Yep. No, they can access everything, all the content and so forth. Now, they're probably not going to be able to do any of the cyber range labs just because you need to fire up a remote desktop and do that, and you need a bigger screen, but all of the other tools are available.
Thank you.
There is the ability for the content. If you don't like the default font, there's a couple of other fonts up here. Some are more technical. I happen to like Poppins. I think it's easy on the eyes to read and so forth. At any time, you can navigate to active courses. And also as an admin, I can go back to the student view here. So you can see as a student, I don't have that edit view, that markup language view. I just have the content here, and I have the ability to add a note. I can look at subsections, the tutor, or I can have it read to me.
Okay, I have one more question, sir.
Yeah.
And for like the PowerPoints, when they follow along, there's a section in there where we can upload like our PowerPoints, and they can kind of.
Yeah, in the resources area.
Okay.
So you can see this is each one of the lecture slides that have been uploaded for this course.
Okay. Gotcha, sir. Thank you.
And they can just download them there, etc.
Okay.
You can go into exam prep. So this is where you can choose CISSP, Security Plus, CISA, SOC Analyst, ISACA, CAI Secure, which is some of the AI security. It's not graded. You can go in and just ask it, hey, let's prep with 50 questions at a time. I can chat with this, or I can go in, hit the speakerphone, and it'll talk to me back and forth as well in here.
Are
Give it a sec.
the quick study guides, like, are they downloadable or like able to be used offline? Just as a question.
You can download most everything as a PDF to use offline. Don't know why that's taking so long there. Well, we'll come back. The careers section, I mentioned the interview prep. Basically, what this does is, given the URL for a job, the AI will interview the student. So say it's a SOC analyst with Booz Allen. It'll actually ask technical questions based on that position description. And of course, it'll also provide soft skills feedback as well as you're going through that. So if I go in here, I can say, I'm going to start practicing. I'll skip the job URL for now. I'm going to do cybersecurity, junior level, security plus, junior information analyst. And now I'm going to do a live tactical interview. And it'll start the interview. Now, I've got my laptop and my desktop monitor, so that's why it's using this other camera. But it's going to keep me in frame, and it will ask questions along the way. And it's just going to go back and forth. I've used Splunk for 3 years. Yeah, if an incident happened, we would investigate the logs in the SIM tool like Splunk to try to determine where the incident started from. And are you able to hear the audio?
We can't hear the
Okay.
audio,
Okay.
but that was pretty cool. Just what you did,
Yeah,
what
that's
you showed.
pretty right. That's pretty cool. I didn't know you could speak. I thought it was like actually, but since you're speaking, that's pretty good.
It's too bad Romy wasn't here to see that.
Let me see if this works here.
Prioritization.
Yes, we can hear it.
Right. So there's a lot of logs in there and you can get lost easily. So you have to zero in on the particular system that was hacked.
Focusing on the specific system that was compromised is key. It helps in filtering through the noise and identifying relevant alerts. Now, can you describe a time when you had to respond to a security incident? What was the problem, and what steps did you take to resolve it?
Yeah, one of our employees got a phishing email, and unfortunately, he clicked on it, and it downloaded a bunch of files. So we had to go into the Google Management Console and download where the email came from, and work with outside counsel on remediation.
That sounds like a challenging situation, but it seems you handled it well by quickly identifying the source and collaborating with external experts. Finally, how do you communicate your findings from a security incident to non-technical stakeholders?
Well, I like to use analogies and whiteboards to, kind of draw the boxes of each of the systems and then talk through what this would be as it relates to just the regular world, so it's not too technical.
Using analogies and visual aids like whiteboards is a fantastic approach. It helps make complex information more accessible to those who aren't as technical. Thank you for sharing your insights today. It was great learning about your experiences.
Awesome. Appreciate your time today. Take care.
You're welcome. Take care and best of luck.
Hey, Vernon, you could switch that out maybe for Lawrence's voice, you can.
Hurry up and get
Throw a couple airborns and it'll be perfect.
Yeah,
right.
some expletives. Yeah, I think that would be more.
So you'll see that you can copy your answers and do other things with that. The Cookie Monster voice. We've actually talked about letting the students choose the personality for voices in the future. So like if they wanted to use a historical figure or their grandfather or something like that.
Or drill sergeant.
That is
or
the
Cookie
wrong
Monster.
answer, maggot. Right. Wrong answer, maggot.
So Morgan Freeman, there you go. That would get me learning. I'd accomplish a lot. So the Fresh Jobs database, you can come in here, and again, it's got when the job was brought in. If it's like a ghost job, we're asking the students to do the thumbs down, or you can even delete the job if you have the right rights and roles. But you could go in here and say, let's do SOC. Let's see what we pull up here. It doesn't want to do that. Oh. So it's got around 27,000 jobs right now in here, but we're constantly adding more and more jobs. And again, it's across multiple different areas, just to get as much as possible. If you go into careers, again, the resume builder will let you or help the student build a resume so that it's got the right keywords in it related to the URL for the job, so it gets through the applicant tracking software. So you can paste a resume, a job link, or have the AI write it for you. So there's a number of things in here to do that. There's different cover letter templates, et cetera, that are built into the platform. There's also the a cover letter builder that the students can use as well to assist with filling out those cover letters. We usually tell our students to first go into their LinkedIn and export their LinkedIn as a PDF to start so that they can upload the content. We do have the functionality inside the Cyber Range lab. So as they create each lab, it's adding those labs directly to their resumes. So they're getting Splunk and Linux endpoints and things like that. It's probably the biggest thing that I see when I go to someone's LinkedIn is they just don't add all the labs they've done. And so then they're not getting credit for the keyboarding skills. So having that on there is really important. I mentioned the course catalog before, and then if you have access to the ad, there's also light and dark mode. If you prefer to switch that around, you can do that as well. And then the admin panel is, where we have students, there's coursework, attendance. This is the back end of the Cyber Range Labs. So you can see that we've got the lab, the image name, the various details. This is something that we would only edit ourselves right now. But in the future, we're trying to open this up more. But it's pretty new still right now. So we provide a concierge service on that. The grade book, select a course. So we could go into the cloud computing course. I probably shouldn't show the grades because for FERPA, so I won't do that right now. But the grades are in there. You can export those grades as well. So if you want to just take the Excel file and manually modify it, that's there to do.
I had a question because you said FERPA. Does that include everything on the platform, including for our students and population as well?
Well, FERPA is what you can do with student information. So you don't want to just be emailing student information around in the blue, but we're recording this, and so I don't want to show the students with their names and their scores in that video.
Okay. I was just wondering about it.
Yep. Let's see here. So we talked about the students. One of the things that we're still working on, but I think is going to be interesting, is an AI agent that will scrape each of the students' LinkedIn to see if they've got the Cyber Range Labs up there and the program listed and other things, just so we can provide that feedback. This is a little bit of a battle because LinkedIn keeps preventing scrapers. So there's only certain things that we can accomplish here. But again, the biggest thing that I see when I help students do like a career review is they have their LinkedIn, but it's sort of like they've got one foot in their old career and one foot in their new career, and then their LinkedIn looks completely disjointed, and it's not really talking about where they want to go and what they want to do and so forth. Okay, but that's a high level overview of everything we're doing. We'll put this video and the PowerPoint up in the course and provide access to it this week for y'all.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
So any of your instructors, any of your students, we call it you're in a pipeline on the back end, but then you'll get the branding for the website, for SMS messages, for emails, for your logo.
Okay.
And we may need, I think the logo we have for F3 right now is more of a vertical logo. So we may also need a more horizontal logo for this space here. Otherwise, I think it's going to be really, really small.
Ooh. Nick, that's something we should probably think about this week. Grab Brian.
Sure, yeah. We can definitely take a look at that this week, Wendy.